From the 600 ESPN El Paso River Oaks Properties Schoolyard Sports Studio, here's Steve Kaplowitz and Adrian Broadus.
Happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome back as we get going for 2.5 with you on the 14th day of August, 2024. I've got Alberto Dueta, who's right next to me. Michael Plundo across the glass with Adrian Broadus. Together, the four of us have Sports Talk ready to go. 09, our telephone number, 505-6009. No Jay Jaffe today. He's on vacation. Jeff Erickson will join us in the 5, Tim Haggerty in the 6. And that'll be our show for today. Excited about that. You know, guys, when the show ended yesterday, as it was, and it's funny because you three left before I did. And you got the heck out of this place pretty quick, all three of you. Congratulations, by the way, on that.
It was scary, Steve. It was horrible outside.
So let me elaborate on that. It was scary. It was horrible. But when I went outside last night, actually before I went outside, when I was by the back door, getting ready to leave yesterday, I saw a rainbow that that basically came to an end. What looked like was about a couple of 1,000 feet away from me. Like, I've never seen one that close before. And it was fascinating to me. I almost felt like I wanted to drive up to it and see the end of it. So instead, I took a couple of pictures of it, put it up on Twitter and X, marveled at it. I'm like the double rainbow guy. I'm like, oh, wow, a double rainbow. But no, I just thought this was kind of cool because, again, I've seen rainbows my whole life. I've just never seen one that looked like it was basically ending right next to the radio station, which this one was. Did the three of you catch that as well?
I did not catch the rainbow, Steve. I was like, I thought when I got outside, all I could do was just turn on my wipers. So no, I did not catch the rainbow that you're referring to. I totally missed this one right here.
How about you, Alberto?
I did for like 2 seconds, but I wasn't like you. I didn't stop to smell the flowers. I didn't stop to look at the rainbow. So I saw it, and I was like, cool, a rainbow. Oh, it's going to be no fun. And that's what my mind was focused on, not the double rainbow and how beautiful it was.
First off, it wasn't a double rainbow.
It was a regular
rainbow. It was a regular rainbow. The double rainbow, you've seen the double rainbow video, right? That's like 20 years old?
Yes, of course.
Or 25 years old, however long it is. Legendary, yeah. Some guy just going crazy over a rainbow and then he starts like crying and laughing and just like so happy.
That wasn't through a lot.
What's that?
Apparently he had gone through a lot.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
And apparently it didn't take much to impress him. So I don't know. Michael, what about you?
Yeah, actually, once I left the station yesterday, when I was getting to my car, as soon as I got in, turned it on, I looked outside my windshield and I saw a rainbow just right above. And I looked at it for a good, I want to say like 5 minutes before I left. And I even got a nice picture of it too and sent it to my mom, and she's like, wow, never seen you that close to a rainbow. So it's cool to see.
So you had the same experience I did. It like you saw it, you said, huh, that's a little different, and then took a photo. And by the way, it came out really nice in the pictures. It really did. And then I was just, the hardest part was taking the photo when my windshield wipers would clean off the rain for like that split second before the windshield would get pummeled by more rain. That was the trick, but it worked, and happy you had that same experience. It was cool. It was neat. I mean, I'm sure it's for some people it's like, no big deal, man. We've seen rainbows before, but did you feel like it was like in your backyard? That's kind of the way it was for us. And it's funny too because I was running out hoping I didn't get hit by lightning because lightning was all around us. And then battling rain, and then wanting to capture the rainbow. And no, I did not see a pot of gold. I wish I did. That would have been so cool. But there was no gold at the end of this rainbow.
It was so weird because I think when Alberto and I both walked out, it was like bright. It was bright outside. It was like really sunny, and it was just like coming down real hard as far as the rain goes. So it was just a weird experience yesterday. I know at one point it hit Southwest University Park, and then it went away quickly.
By the way, thank you, Alberto, for posting the double rainbow guy. So that's nice. Thank you so much for that. Anyway, that was yesterday's experience, and now here we are today. Is it supposed to rain again, or no rain in the forecast today?
I haven't seen any. Got a shoot tonight with our haunted house. We've got also a Football Friday night meeting tonight, so busy night. We don't want anybody to have excuses to not show up.
Doesn't look like there's any rain, by the way, coming to this area. I'm looking right now to see where to see our area and to see where the possible precip is. And there's. I'm going through it right now. Nope, nothing. We're good. We are good to go tonight. So nothing happening. In fact, unless you live south by us in Edmonton-Mako, you're not going to get any rain, so you're okay. Safe to say. No Jay Jaffe today, folks. No Jay, so it'll just be us for the first hour of the program. 505-6009. We will have the Cowboys update at 6. We'll have Jeff Erickson in the 5 o'clock hour. So if you are playing fantasy football and you're in some fantasy football drafts, load up. Send us your questions. We'd love to hear from you on the program today. Also, very important to note, UTEP training camp is in full swing. We're about midway through, and they're 2.5 weeks away from their opener at Nebraska. And by the way, this is also very cool. UTEP Athletics today formally announced the 5-year extension with 600 ESPN El Paso, Town Square Media, and our ability now to broadcast all UTEP football and men's basketball games for the next 5 seasons. And in fact, the first 3 games will be on KLAQ because Chihuahua's baseball will be in direct conflict with those game times. So we will have UTEP on the Q while the Chihuahuas air on 600 ESPN. But Minor Talk will be coming up with Adrian and Sal and probably Alberto and whoever else we're going to round up after all the UTEP games.
Steve, I'm so happy. It's a blessed day, saying 5 years more with UTEP Athletics. That's great stuff right there. It's been a great ride so far, right? I mean, we've had a lot of fun with UTEP Athletics being able to bring our listeners the coverage, and this is where it belongs, 600 ESPN El Paso. It's the station where you kind of think of when it comes to UTEP football, when it comes to UTEP men's basketball. So we want to continue to provide that here in the future, and as far as Minor Talk goes, excited for another year.
We are excited, too. We really are. I think it's going to be fantastic. We can't wait. And high school football is right around the corner with our Football Friday night crew. I understand that Alberto is joining the team this year. Are we concerned that you're going to have a difficult time covering games in Far East El Paso because of your vehicle?
Not at all, not at all. Where there's a will, there's a way. Just kidding. No, not at all.
What does that mean, where there's a will, there's a way? Does that
You've
mean
never heard that?
Well, no, I've heard where there's a will, there's a way, but I'm just saying, is that are you basically saying that whether your car works or not, you will find a way to cover games for us?
Yes.
Okay, that is perfect. I'm excited for you. I hope your car does the job. I really do.
No Sanelli games.
Yeah, are we going to keep him away from Clint Fabens and Sanelli this first year, or because normally,
I'll do my best.
Normally, when you come on board and you report for us for the first time, you usually do games in far East El Paso and surrounding counties.
Thank goodness we've got an El Paso High team on this close to the side of town. We also got maybe Austin High School, not too far away for you. That's a little 4A action. So there's some opportunities to keep you over close by. And
I know Brandon Cohn loves those Coronado games, but Alberto is an alumnus of Coronado High School.
Ah, good point. Although I would love to cover some Coronado games this year myself.
Wouldn't you rather cover Franklin since you went there?
I would you know what? This season sounds a lot of fun for Coronado. Actually, if I had to choose which game I'm going to first, I'd probably go Coronado, even though I know week 1 I'm going to Franklin Chapin. So that should be a lot of fun.
Well, listen, Mike Pry would be really happy to hear that. Darren Walker might have another thing to say about you on the air, saying that you'd rather cover Coronado this year than Franklin.
Well, I'm just excited, man, for this Coronado team. This is their first chance to actually make it to the playoffs in a while, and under head coach Mike Pry. Last year, just missing it, but having some really competitive games. Feels like this is the year for them. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to their season.
I'm looking forward to it also. I'm looking forward to a lot of things, including our look around high school football in El Paso, as that program, our previews will continue today on this show. So that is great. This comes from 5 Points Guy on our 600 ESPN El Paso app. He is chatting with us. Steve, all this rainbow talk, I'm craving Skittles now. Taste the rainbow. says 5 points guy.
So for food, rainbow for me, I think of Dippin' Dots, that Dippin' Dots flavor, the rainbow one. Oh, man, that's probably my favorite Dippin' Dots flavor.
So I never even knew that flavor existed until about 5 years ago when my son tried it for the first time. And here's my take on Dippin' Dots, the rainbow ice flavor. Okay?
Oh, no, no hot takes, Steve.
Very big hot take. All right. If you don't eat that, like within 5 minutes of it being served to you, you get the most disgusting looking melted version of whatever that stuff actually is in your cup. And I'm telling you, it's brutal. And you know, my son is the kind of person that doesn't like eat like instantly everything. He likes to, you know, let it last for 10 or 15 minutes, and that stuff would be like it was. I can't even explain to you how turned off I was about what those Dippin' Dots turned into after they started melting. So my attitude is, hey, if you want to get the colored Dippin' Dots, fine. Enjoy the rainbow ice, but eat it within 5 minutes. Otherwise, you don't want to see what it turns into.
Wow, we could not be complete opposites on this take, Steve. I love letting the rainbow, I'm dying back here, because I love letting the rainbow ones melt and then eating that sugary, gross, disgusting, multicolored ice cream. Next time
it's not ice cream. It's like it's not ice cream. Because if it was ice cream, it would be creamy. It's like a syrup is what it is. It's like some
sugary
kind of
syrup.
Sugary syrup. I know that. Now, first off, I don't even know if Dippin' Dots are really ice cream. Who knows? It's the ice cream of the future, and it's been ice cream of the future for the last 40 years. So apparently we're still branding it the exact same stuff they branded it in the 80s when it came out with. But yeah, you really like it when that stuff melts down and turns into that just disgusting-looking syrup?
I'm dying over here. I love it. That's like my favorite part. I actually like to wait and let some of it melt, Steve. I'm now every time you see a melted rainbow Dippin' Dots, you're going to think of me. You need to think of me because that's actually my favorite. Like, instead of throwing it out, give it to Adrian. He'll love that. He'll love the melted Dippin' Dots rainbow flavor.
Joel liked it too. That was my problem. Yeah. He had no problem letting it melt down and turning into what I think is just the most, awful-looking colors of whatever that stuff is, sludge, in your cup. And he would savor that. And I'm like, and then he would offer it to me. And I'd look at him like, no, I don't want to try that. No, thanks.
So Dippin' Dots is created by flash freezing ice cream mix in liquid nitrogen.
Okay. I didn't have Dippin' Dots till I was an adult.
What's your impressions?
Of Dippin' Dots as an adult?
You can buy Dippin' Dots at Chihuahuas games. They sell it there.
It's one
of the most popular items ever. In fact, I was worried that the beer line was going to be really long a few weeks ago, and it turned out that right next to the beer line was the Dippin' Dots line. So that was the long line. I got right in and got my beer, and I looked her over and I saw there was about 25 people back waiting for Dippin' Dots.
Yeah, I didn't grow up having Dippin' Dots, so I was well into my 20s when I first had it. So when I waited in that ridiculously long line, and then I finally got my Dippin' Dots for the first time, and I tried it, I was like, this is so underwhelming.
Oh.
Because I waited for so long, so it's whatever.
You don't like sweets, though.
Yeah, it's true.
Let me just tell you this, okay? This is also really, really important. Here are the ingredients in the Dippin' Dots Rainbow Ice, which is a colorful blend of strawberry, orange, lemon, lime, and blue raspberry ices. Let me give you the ingredients. Here we go. Water, corn syrup solids, sugar, natural and artificial flavor, blue number 1, red number 40, yellow number 6, yellow number 5, artificial flavor, citric acid, and cellulose gum. The next time you enjoy that melted mix, Adrian, and it's coming down to that, think about that collection of ingredients, and I hope it's as great now as it was when you were a kid.
Oh, man. I think I probably kept that Sunland Park location one in Sunland Mall open while, I was in middle school and high school. But, Steve, I'll ask you this. As somebody who's been to a lot of Chihuahuas games and as somebody who's a parent of somebody who's, been to a lot of the Chihuahuas games as a kid, how many Dippin' Dots orders have you gotten at the games?
I would say at least 3 to 4 dozen.
Yeah,
Almost every game he wants it. But the cool thing is this. He's grown out of the rainbow ice phase.
Is he now cookies and cream?
Cookies and cream.
Man.
And you know what he loved?
Could bond.
You know what else he loved, which they stopped serving about a month ago at the Chihuahuas games, which really annoyed him? The brownies.
Yes.
That brownie was like a limited creation. If he could eat that have that brownie mix for the rest of his life, he'd be a happy guy. That was his ultimate favorite. And he's also done the cookie dough, but he prefers cookies and cream. That is his number one choice.
I'm going rainbow probably 8 out of 10 times, and then the other 2 out of 10 times I'm getting cookies and cream. But it is a go-to. That was my point to make, is when you're at the Chihuahuas game at Southwest University Park, that it's kind of a go-to item if you're a kid or if you're just craving something sweet.
Did the rainbow ingredients change your impression of those, or are you still just as excited to eat them as you were before we started talking about it?
You didn't look at me, but while you did that, I took off my headphones. I just didn't want to know. It was like that thing. I just don't want to know.
Michael Plundo is with us as well. Michael, are you a Dippin' Dots guy?
The last time I had Dippin' Dots was 2017.
7 years ago? Are you saying that you've grown out of Dippin' Dots?
I've just really never been a big Dippin' Dots guy.
Yeah.
I'd say my favorite place to go get ice cream is Cold Stone. I really like Cold Stone a lot. Very underrated place, and me and my sister really like it there.
I wish we had Carvel in El Paso. You know, we used to. Believe it or not, on the west side of town, they had a little soft-serve Carvel dispenser where Schlotsky's was in the same store. Like, they used to share each other, and then they stopped serving Carvel about 4 years ago, and I was bummed out because that's my ultimate favorite. It's a New York-based soft-serve ice cream, and that's my go-to. And unfortunately, it's not around. I also used to love Swenson's. That's long gone. All of my favorite places are no longer with us. But we do have 31 flavors, folks. They're still around after all these years. All right, enough ice cream talk. Let's take a time-out. We'll come back. A lot more in store for you. But first, no, he's not around. I thought I was going to go to Charlie for traffic, but is he with us on the other side? Gotcha. Let's go to Charlie 1. He's got our first of what's going to be 5 traffic updates here this afternoon. Charlie, how we doing? During the break, I started looking at ingredients for all the different Dippin' Dots flavors. All I'm going to tell you is this, folks. If you really enjoy something, or your kids really enjoy something, don't look at ingredients sometimes. It's better not to know. Better not to know than to see it and to see what's in there. Like, I was looking at the brownies, the brownie mix that they have, and red number 40 is in the brownies. I'm like, how is that even possible? It's chocolate and brownies. How does red food coloring even get in that mix? I don't even get that.
That is crazy, man. We put just as Americans, right? Like, it's fun to just talk about these things, but we actually put some really bad stuff in our food.
110%. Like, my wife came home from Sprouts, and she found all these gummy bears that have no food coloring. Like, the coloring is all natural. And I'm like, all right, that works for me. I mean, natural stuff is probably the best thing you could possibly have, and that's the way to do it. Hard to find that, though, because most places you go around here in the States, they don't care. They'll put food coloring in anything. So it's kind of nice when you can go get the natural stuff.
Was it good?
Delicious.
Ooh, okay.
It
nice.
is lights out.
From you. Okay.
Lights out. So, I'm telling you. Same thing with Trader Joe's. When you go to Trader Joe's, there's no food coloring in anything they sell. Everything is natural as far as coloring goes. So that's the key. Next time you look at something, folks, check out that ingredients and see how excited you are to eat it afterwards. Some people probably just don't care. They're like, that's not gonna bother me. But others are gonna be like, ooh, really? The answer is yes, really. All right, 26 past the hour. As we continue here on Sports Talk. 5:05 6009, our telephone number. And that reminds me, like, M&M's, the most popular candy ever, right? Every single color is food coloring based. Every one of them. Have they ever thought of just doing a clear M&M? Meaning you still have the shell, but it's clear and there's no coloring involved versus making it look a certain particular color.
Well, aren't there people who have like they claim that there's like certain colors that they love when it comes to M&Ms, and which I think is the most ridiculous thing ever.
Seriously, how is that even possible? It's the same exact thing, but with just different food coloring. So does that mean you can taste certain food coloring from the others? Is that what they're saying?
Well, I'm saying this is that if they ever do that and they ever say that they're going to go, one certain color with no dye, I think the backlash on social media will be pretty heavy. Like, I think that, people will be like, oh, I love the...
Day says, you know what? We're getting rid of all of our dyes for our M&Ms, and we're just going to go natural, like natural coloring, like we were just talking about with Sprouts and places like that. And we're going to sell them like that. Do you think there'll be an uproar?
And not tell anybody and just said, hey, we're doing this. Or if they approached it in a more health-conscious aspect, maybe that would be the way to go.
Okay. There apparently is a girl on YouTube who claims she can taste the different taste. I got into this discussion today, but we did. And yes, I remember how. Because of 5 Point Sky and Skittles. Taste the rainbow. That's what started this whole ridiculous situation. Then we started talking, you started talking about Rainbow Dippin' Dots. We went down before we end this subject, favorite candy of all time. Alberto, start with you. Favorite candy of all time.
Kind of guy, I even like Sour Patch too, but I'd probably choose.
Oh,
Never have?
no.
All right. Sunflower seeds.
I have eaten the seeds with the shells. I don't like to.
Okay.
I like to put them all in my mouth.
Okay. Adrian.
Gummy bears. All-time favorite. It sounds so simple, but all-time favorite.
Oh, that's good. Listen, there's so many good candies out there. Funny enough, my favorite all-time candy, snow caps.
Wow. That's off the top rope too, Steve. Yeah. Snow caps.
Yeah, I love it. I'm a sucker for nonpareils. That's why.
Okay.
So snow caps, which, by the way, is awful for you. It's so bad. We had a box in the house over the last couple of days, and it's like I'll get a handful one day, handful the next day. Just try to keep eating these until I finish them, and yeah, finally got.
You ever freeze them?
Snow caps? No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I heard that's a thing.
Really?
And throw it in the popcorn.
Snow caps
Yes.
and popcorn?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
No, I haven't done that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. M&Ms are a close second, but I do feel differently about M&Ms after the whole food coloring thing. Like that is
me too.
So like I used to love M&Ms, couldn't get enough of them, but now about the food coloring deal, I've scaled them back greatly in recent years. Really have.
Peanut, almond, or
Plain.
regular?
Just plain, baby.
Yeah, I got you.
Love those. Although you know what, they used to make these giant cherry M&Ms around Valentine's Day. Those are delicious.
Yeah, I'm a big Easter M&M's fan.
There you go. All right. Michael Plundo's standing by. He's got a bottom of the hour sports update for us next. Then we'll come back and, we'll talk sports coming up here. 600 ESPN El Paso. Knee surgery is brutal for the Vikings. I mean, that is a bad spot, really, for Minnesota. I'll say this, though, that really now gives Sam Darnold the opportunity of a lifetime. And that's a chance to try to, keep the job for a while if he has a good year in under center for the Minnesota Vikings. That is for sure, because most thought Darnold would start the season as the number one, but then give it up for JJ at some point here of the season.
Yeah, but do you realize you realize what we're saying here, Steve? You do, because you're a Jets fan. You're saying Sam Darnold leading this team as a starting. What has Sam Darnold done in the NFL? The Lane Frank arguments aside and all of this, the Kevin O'Connell arguments that he just makes it easier for what has he done in the NFL to actually warrant himself to be a starting quarterback in this league?
My favorite line is when, if you think about it, saying that J.J. McCarthy was transforming and started to really look like an NFL quarterback. Well, guess what? Sam Darnold's never looked like a real NFL quarterback. So congratulations. That's the new leader of the Minnesota Vikings. Take that from a Jets fan. Now, again, I watched Geno Smith fail miserably as a Jets quarterback early in his career and become a terrific quarterback with the Seattle Seahawks. So anything's possible. It's not like I can't see Sam Darnold turn it around, which would make, I know, Lane very, very happy in our little bet with Kenny Pickett and Sam Darnold. But bets aside, if you are a Vikings fan, you cannot feel good at all knowing that the future at quarterback is losing a huge year of development because of major knee surgery.
Okay, I'm going to just reel off some quarterbacks, and you tell me if you would rather have them than Sam Darnold, okay?
Let's do it.
Okay, Kenny Pickett.
Yes. Well, obviously, I picked Kenny Pickett's career over Sam Darnold in that bet. So yes, I would take Kenny Pickett over Sam Darnold. Absolutely.
Ryan Tannehill at this point?
Yes, he's played in the league for years. At least I've seen him run an offense. How old is Ryan Tannehill now?
35. That's what Michael Plendo said.
35. Still a free agent.
Yeah, I'm not a Tannehill fan, but yeah, I'd probably take him over Sam Darnold. Who else?
Taylor Heineke.
I liked Heineke in Washington.
29 starts, by the way.
He showed me something. Yes, I would take Taylor Heineke over Sam Darnold. Who else?
Sam Howell.
He's an interception-throwing machine, but so is Sam Darnold. And yet Sam Howell threw for 4,000 yards last year with Washington. Man, he sucks. I mean, I watched enough New England football last season. Mac Jones is terrible. He could even be worse than Sam Darnold if that's possible.
Russell Wilson.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the last one is Bailey Zappi.
Listen, I'm president of the Bailey Zappi fan club. I think that if somebody gives Bailey Zappi a chance, he could be a terrific NFL quarterback. Is he better now than Sam Darnold? No, he's not. But I do believe that in time, Bailey Zappi can actually be a very, big quarterback in the NFL.
Jameis Winston. I'll throw that one at you. Over Sam Darnold.
God, he was terrible last year, too. No. I mean, I'd probably take Darnold over Winston.
Okay, yeah. I just feel like, at this point, man, why didn't you just keep Cousins?
You should have.
Kirk could have been the perfect guy. Everybody back. Yeah. You have question marks with Aaron Jones in this offense right here. You have the highest paid receiver in your building. You have a coach on his year 3 and a general manager who's in this new system.
Here's the problem, okay? Cousins wanted a new contract coming off a torn Achilles. And Minnesota, had they given him the new contract, then they obviously don't draft JJ. You just run it back with Nick Mullins as your backup quarterback and keep Kirk Cousins. I would have done that. That would have made a lot of sense. I just don't think at his age they were ready to shell out the kind of money that Atlanta was ready to do after that surgery and that injury. That's all.
Yeah, I agree. I just feel like now you're going to have to overpay anyways, or you're going to have to get a quarterback in the system. A couple other names that were mentioned, Jacoby Brissett, who could be on the trade block for them, Jimmy Garoppolo, who's a backup in Los Angeles with the Rams, Tyrod Taylor, who has a lot of starts under his belt, Drew Lock.
I would take Tyrod Taylor over Sam Darnold any day of the week. I'm actually happy the Jets have Tyrod Taylor because if Aaron Rodgers goes down, he's actually a suitable backup that can run the team and probably win some games. Much better than Zach.
Throw him in that same category too. If I'm somebody who would go out there and trade low cost right now, but maybe upside with Josh Dobbs, I'd probably go that route too.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, so interesting. Good stuff, and I feel for Vikings fans. I really do. I know what it's like to even get a chance to play. I know a little bit of what that's like.
Yeah, it only took 4 snaps, Steve, to, end the Jets' optimism.
Yeah,
but,
thanks for reminding me there, pal.
No problem,
Appreciate
Steve.
that.
Happy to help you, Steve, anytime.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's exactly what I wanted to hear from you today, Plundo. Thanks for the good old reminder. I was over at Border City Ale House hosting our first Monday Night Football. And by the way, again, when he went down, I knew immediately season over. I saw him get up, I saw him limp, and I said, that's it. That was the end. I knew season was over. Before they showed the replays, before you saw the Achilles buckle and all that, I could watch that play, and I said, that's it. We're done. God, I hope that he's able to stay upright all season. That's all I care about. All I want is one healthy season. Just give me one season. We can go from there. All right. 19 in front of 5. So we continue here on Sports Talk. So Vikings fans, I feel for you. 505-6009, our telephone number. More in a moment, right here at 600 ESPN El Paso. All right, 2 of 3 ready to go. We'll take you up till first pitch. Chihuahuas tonight, 6:35. They go up against the Reno Aces. We also have Michael Plundo here for the final week before he leaves to go back to Texas Tech. Alberto Dueta with us as well. Hey, by the way, when Michael officially bids adieu for us, will you be going back in with Adrian in his chair, or have you become so comfortable here with me in the talk studio that you will leave Adrian by himself and you will be here? What is your plan?
I don't know. That's a great question. I've been thinking about it a lot. I may just go back like one day here, one day back over there or something so I can bother you both equally.
Adrian, what do we think about that?
I think we're going to have some intern who's going to fill Michael Plundo's seat. So by default, you might hang on to that seat for a little while longer.
You think that could be the case?
Possibly so.
All right. There it is. That could be it. Maybe we'll keep Alberto with you until the internship starts, and then he'll just pop back over.
You're kicking him out already. Huh?
I'm ready. I'm like, it's exactly. This story about 4 hours ago on Twitter and X from Scott Erickson. Scott is an NFL ESPN insider.
Relation to Jeff?
I don't think so. Looking at this guy, no, this guy's based out of New Orleans. He said that the Vikings have inquired about Saints quarterback Derek Carr. This is per Reed Sutherland, who covers the LA Rams and the NFL. The Saints are impressed with what they've seen out of rookie quarterback Spencer Rattler, and the Vikings try to look for J.J. McCarthy's replacement. How interesting would that be if Derek Carr goes to the Vikings?
That would be fascinating, man. I mean, you're really going from one Kirk Cousins to another right there in Derek Carr. I feel like Carr gives you everything that you want in that Minnesota offense. It's a deep thrower. He could throw real deep passes, and that's your Jordan Addison / Justin Jefferson spot. Also, he hands the ball off nicely. That's a joke right there. But, he hands the ball off nicely, and Aaron Jones will be able to man that ground game.
Yes, he will. Meanwhile, I really like this trade for the Falcons, getting Matthew Judon for a third-round pick. I mean, the guy's a 4-time Pro Bowl pass rusher. He'll help the Atlanta defense. Once again, not really sure if the answer was trading him for a third-rounder, but clearly, New England didn't want to deal with this.
Yeah, Patriots and Matthew Judon were talking about a contract extension over the summer, but couldn't agree to terms. And honestly, I think this is, the best point for Judon at this point of his career, on the bit of the older side, going into his 30s. Probably wants to go win, and I don't think the Patriots are going to be in a position to contend anytime soon. And Atlanta, with all the additions they made, I think this is just only makes them better.
Now you go back to the 8th overall pick in the first round, Steve, and you think to yourself, now you can live. If you're a Falcons fan, you could probably live with that Penix draft selection a little bit more, knowing that you have that star, a defensive player that you could build around. I think Matthew Judon, what he could still provide to you on the other side of 30 is still a lot of production. And Raheem Morris, he's the guy to do it. He's the defensive-minded coach that was, hired away from the Los Angeles Rams to lead the Falcons. So now that you have the skill position players in place, you've got a quarterback who's willing to win now with Kirk Cousins. You got a future quarterback in Penix who's exciting, and now you've got a defense that's ready to back you on this. This Falcons team might see a window of opportunity here for that bad NFC South and have some success here with Judon.
I was going to say, this whole division is up in the air. There's nobody right now on paper that looks like the favorite to win. Nobody. And you've given Atlanta an impact pass rusher like Judon? I mean, this could easily put them over the top.
I know. I mean, I'm looking at the NFC South. Why wouldn't you just go for it if you're a team? Even if you're as bad as the Panthers or the Saints, or as good as maybe, quote unquote, as good as the Buccaneers right there. Because those teams, I feel like they're all kind of in the same place. It was kind of a reflection of last year and how everybody felt like, they were like 7-9, 7-9, 8-9, whatever it was. Yeah. And Atlanta making this decision right here for just a third rounder, I think it's a good move right here for them.
I do. I think it's a great move for them. And it's not even a conditional third rounder. This is a straight up third round pick. It's even better.
Yeah, it might be worth it. When it's all said and done, he might have that production. You might sign him to that long-term deal, and Raheem Morris gets that gem on defense that he was looking for. No Dallas Turner, no Brian Murphy, nothing like that right there in the first round of the draft. They instead take Penix, and then they later on trade for Judon.
God, New England is going to be terrible this year. They're going to be, you look at the division with Buffalo, Miami, and the Jets. How many games are the Patriots going to win this year? 3? 4? They're going to be awful.
Yeah, they're not. This is not a good team, Steve. If you look at this roster, and even when they were rumored to get Brandon Ayuk, that he still would have not helped matters at all because they just have holes all over the place. And it's funny because I'm doing my predictions right now, and I have them finishing at 3-14. Steve, yeah. I don't see this team getting much better from last year. I think it's going to be a replicate to last year, and this is just not the Patriots we know, and that's a harsh reality they're facing as their dynasty is long gone.
Speaking of Ayuk, I heard that deal is a phone call away. That is what the 49ers are saying right now. It's a phone call away. Is that saying that the principles have been agreed to, and now it's just up to the 49ers to see if they want to pull the trigger on this deal?
And this could also be a leverage situation too, Steve, for Brandon Ayuk. He could have used the Pittsburgh Steelers as leverage to get more money from San Francisco, which has been in rumors so far, and it could very well be the case. If I'm Brandon Ayuk, I'd want to stay with the 49ers. You were just in the Super Bowl last year, and you're still in the position to contend for years to come, while the Steelers, with uncertainty at the quarterback position. So I think Ayuk is going to end up staying in San Francisco when it's all said and done. Despite the Steelers having the framework of trade in place, I just think the best situation for Brandon would to remain in San Francisco.
Maybe they're trying to work on a long-term deal with Ayuk and then trade him. Maybe that's the key. Maybe they want to make sure that maybe San Francisco doesn't want to have to go through with Ayuk what the Jets are dealing with right now with Hassan Reddick. And they'd rather say, okay, let's see what the parameters are like. We'll give San Francisco kind of along the lines of what we're looking for. And if he doesn't take it, we don't make it. As opposed to, get the deal done, lock him down, then trade him to us so we know we're not going to have to go through any kind of potential holdout or contract situation, exactly like what's happening right now with the Jets and Reddick.
Can we just get an answer, though, for this one for Ayuk? Because at least with Reddick, it was a trade demand and at least quiet. It feels like every day we get a new nugget from this 49ers trade or trade to be or maybe a phone call away. When are we going to get some real substance right here on a trade that will actually materialize for Brandon Ayuk?
That's another good point.
And I'm saying this as a Rams fan who wants to see him out of the division.
I'm sure you do. Well, right now you don't even have to worry because he's demanding a trade and he's not looking to come back and play with the 49ers. So
exactly.
And I don't really think he's going to play with the 49ers, even if they work out a deal. I feel like that relationship is damaged right now beyond repair. I don't know if they can come back and work together again. I know Michael said that he believes it'll eventually work out. I'm not sure if it will.
I don't know if it will either. I think if I had to make a prediction right now, I think he's a Steeler. I think that the Steelers might even have – maybe this is also a leverage point for the 49ers. Maybe they want just a little bit more in the deal to sweeten things so they feel like they get an adequate return for Ayuk. But the reality is right here for San Francisco, the clock is ticking. The window's about to be closed right here. Everybody's payday is coming up. And if they don't seize this opportunity right here, and I mean win a Super Bowl, then all of this will be for nothing, because they didn't end up winning the big one.
505-6009. We'll have Jeff Erickson joining us here in about 10 minutes or so, and looking forward to that. 505-6009 as we continue. But as we mentioned earlier in the program, all week long, our coverage for Football Friday night and going with our countdown brought to you by El Paso Community College. In fact, folks, so we've talked about this all week. Fall semester at EPCC begins Monday, August 26th. You can visit epcc.edu to register and talk to someone about classes virtually. However, a very big event will be happening this Saturday at 10 a.m. involving the first 90 students to come and register at Valle Verde. Adrian, tell everybody a little bit about it.
Yeah, this is awesome stuff. So all you have to do is it's the extended hours. You have to show up early, and it's at the Valle Verde campus, like you mentioned. That is 919 Hunter Drive. They open at 10, and the first 90 students who come out there and register full-time, remember, you got to register 12 hours or more, will receive a book voucher for up to $500. That's right. The first 90 students who register in person 12 hours full-time get a $500 voucher for books, thanks to El Paso Community College. By the way, big shout out to El Paso Community College for high school athletes out there and all the coaches who are listening to this. Softball, cross country. They have one of the most recognized cross country programs in the country. And if you want to learn more, visit epcc.edu.
Let's talk about the Pebble Hill Spartans here right now. A great season last year. They were able to win by district, and you think about just how good they were. 8-3, 6-2 in District 1-6A. But think about this more than anything else. You lose your head coach. You lose your quarterback. You've also lost your other key talent. In fact, they only have 6 coming back on defense and 3 on offense. So there's a lot of work for new head coach Ryan Warner to get to at Pebble Hills to try to come close to last season. I don't think this is going to be a quick fix. Mark Torres is not going to be an easy person to replace. You tell me, Adrian, will this be a rebuild year for the Pebble Hill Spartans?
Well, if it's a Ryan Warner coach team, in his eyes, he doesn't want any sort of rebuild. And I think that's why this job was so desirable when the interview process actually happened. I mean, Mark Torres came on this show when he left El Paso, and he said Pebble Hills is the most desirable job in all of El Paso. So I thought it was an interesting take right there. However, I'll say this, as far as the Pebble Hills job and what's ahead for this group, Ryan Warner has one of the best, if not the best, defenders in 1-6A in Dorian Jaramillo. He is a linebacker. He racked up over 100 tackles last year and 6 sacks. I really like him. I also like the running back in Zarian Quarles. He had a really nice season last year. He was somebody who they paced a nice ground game between him and Gael Ochoa, who just finished his second semester at UNLV, by the way, Steve. 1,128 rushing yards for Quarles, along with 13 rushing touchdowns. He'll be their mainstay. And so imagine if you're, Ryan Warner, their head coach. He goes from coaching Davion Singleton, the best running back you're going to find at Chapin High School, to now going over and going with one of the best running backs we're going to find in 6A in Zarian Quarles. So this Pebble Hill Spartans group should be really interesting this year. I'm looking forward to it. By the way, Steve, don't forget, we got the second SAC opening out in Far East El Paso this year, so we'll get a chance to go to either student athletics complexes out there to go see some of these games.
Is that what they're going to call it, the second SAC?
Maybe so, or SAC 2 or something like that.
SAC 1, SAC 2?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know what they're actually going to call it, so.
I'm kind of curious if there's a name yet. We know the SAC is what it's always been, the the Socorro Activities Complex. We do not know yet what the second SAC will be known as. I like the second SAC. It's kind of cool.
That's so funny.
Will the second SAC be bigger than the first SAC?
So, okay, listen to this. Student Activity Complex 2. That's what it says.
So it's SAC 2.
Yeah, SAC 2.
So we've got the SAC and SAC 2.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Not to be confused with the Ocho. All right. So what can you tell us about SAC 2 compared to SAC 1?
I want to go out there, man. They had the ribbon cutting not too long ago. It was $58 million to build out in Far East El Paso. It will help out a big, in a big way. But yeah, I'm excited to see it. I heard there's also like facilities inside for like events and for conferences and stuff like that. So they really took their time out there.
Well, that's good. All right. I'm excited, happy for everybody, and looking forward to people coming to SAC 2 to watch games. And we will kick off SAC 2 here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. In fact, Horizon kicks off out there for the first game. I believe it's against Socorro. Could get that wrong.
So wait a minute. Now, they used to play the 4 o'clock and the 7 o'clock game. Will there now be 2 7 o'clock games and no more 4 o'clock games?
So what would make sense in your opinion? I want to ask you this. What makes the most sense in your eyes? Because I'll tell you what the actual answer is.
Play 2 7 o'clock games. Why would you play a 4 o'clock game when you can now have the ability to play 2 primetime games right next to each other?
The plan is to stagger times. 6:30, 7:30, and then it's for parking reasons. That was what was told to me.
6:30 and 7:30.
Yeah, stuff like that. You might see stuff like that.
Why not just 6 and 7?
That's what I'm saying.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly hate the fact that there's staggered kickoff times, but I also, you know what it really comes down to is I hate late kickoff times because of Football Friday night. I want us to have some great coverage, just like we have all across El Paso, and sometimes it confuses things.
It's a little weird saying coming to you live from SAC 2.
Ah, really? Right, exactly. SISD, SAC 2, Student Activities Complex 2.
Maybe we can have the right SAC and the left SAC because they got to be located right next to each other, right?
North and south.
There
east
you go.
and west.
Or east and west, whatever you want to do. All right. Hey, 17 past as we continue here on Sports Talk. We'll come back. Jeff Erickson will talk a little fantasy sports. You can weigh in as well at 600 ESPN El Paso on Twitter and X and send us your fantasy football questions. Or as we go to Charlie 1, let's get ourselves another traffic update. Sounds serious enough right now for the Chiefs where they're exploring other receiver combinations. Here's a guy that, has had success throughout the years in the NFL. How much do you think his draft stock could be taking a hit if you're going to be drafting here in the next couple weeks?
A round or two. They're saying 4 to 6 weeks with this sternoclavicular injury. He's not a big receiver. He's a small guy. Durability has always been a concern. Rashee Rice, meanwhile, the wheels of justice, sorry for the poor turn of phrase, but they turn slowly with him right now. He may not face any discipline this year. It might be a lot like Alvin Kamara, where it's actually in year 2 that, 2 years after the incident that he sees some sort of suspension. So we'll see. I think the NFL wants to see the justice system kind of mete out its side first before they do their side. So that means I think that they can take their time a little bit more with Brown, too, because they're going to have Rice.
Is CeeDee Lamb's ADP taking a big hit now that we're already a couple of weeks into training camp, and who knows when he's going to come back?
No, it hasn't yet. Maybe a spot or two. I haven't even seen him drop below 5 overall, though. Maybe a couple of spots, but I mean, I think everybody really believes that a deal will get done, that he won't miss regular season time. Typically, Jerry Jones does end up paying the players. Sometimes he drags his heels in doing so. I do remember Emmitt Smith missing a game or two, and I remember them losing a home game to Buffalo, and they said, "Okay, we better sign him now." And he might happen there, but I for the most part think that I'm going to buy the dip if someone gives it to me.
I might have asked you this last week, I forget, but can the Cowboys even afford to give him the contract extension if they don't rework Dak's deal?
I mean, they're going to have to rework it anyhow. It's all about guaranteed money, though. Everything is, you can, if you make it guaranteed money, it applies to the signing, as a signing bonus. It has less of a cap hit. I'm not a wizard when it comes to the cap, but I know these things get done. The Saints have cheated the cap for years. Other teams have as well. It's all about just, being creative about it there, making sure that, the player, it's all, That's like the thing in the game is these owners don't want to shell out actual cash sometimes. True.
But remember this, Cowboy fans around here, and I'm sure in Dallas, they're not thrilled with the prospect of having another 3 to 4 more years of Dak Prescott under center. And they could get out of his contract after this year if they choose not to extend it and rework it, which begs the question, could Jerry go in that direction and decide, you know what, I'm going to wait one more season and then either cut ties with Dak completely or give him the money he needs?
If they cut ties completely with Dak, where are they going to go? They're not going to get a top 5 draft pick.
Nope.
They're not going to get, an elite quarterback in the draft, most likely. Understanding that they got Dak at a discounted rate in the draft, maybe they think they can do that again. But to kind of catch lightning in a bottle with a non-elite draft pick slot is hard to do. And if you're trusting your drafting acumen to be able to do that and not go through some really serious growing pains in the interim, seems unlikely. I don't see the Cowboys as, we'll just go ahead and commit to a full teardown and rebuild. It doesn't seem like the type of franchise to do that.
Jeff Erickson with us from Rotowire.com as we continue. Any rookies impress you with their performance this past weekend?
Brian Thomas, in particular, looked really great. I bumped him up in my rankings, which just went up on Rotowire right now. You can check out for yourself. We want people to kind of get a good look at that. But Thomas, I moved up, every down with the first team, even if they're in 2 wide receiver sets, let alone 3 receiver sets. I think he could be a target monster in year 1.
That's right. A lot of good quarterbacks shining in this first week of the preseason. All right, let's shift it over to baseball. Saw this news. The Yankees officially placed Jazz Chisholm on the injured list. Tough blow to New York. His debut of rebounding from what was an awful month of July. And now I wonder, having to put DJ LeMahieu back into the third base spot, what that's going to do with the Yankees going forward.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. I mean, Jazz did a great job of lengthening the lineup. They just got Stanton back. Things were kind of looking up. And then they had a really bad series at home against the Angels in that rain-soaked series. They got thumped by the White Sox on Monday. I mean, they're going to rebound. They'll be okay. But, it's just, 2 steps forward, 1.5 back. They can't quite get over the hump. They're still one of the top 5 teams in baseball, so let's not cry for them too long. But, it is that is a pretty big blow because Chisholm was their big ad at the trade deadline, and it was a good targeted ad. I liked what they did, and it's got some long-term value, too.
It's Braves. You got to be excited because you're going to get Michael Harris back, activated off the 60-day IL. Yeah,
that's a big return. Finally, some good news for the Braves. I mean, they've been leaking a lot of oil for the last couple of months. A lot of, it's tough. You lop straight off the top. Their 2 best players are out for the season, in Acuna and Strider. That's really rough. And meanwhile, Austin Riley hasn't been as good as previous years. Ozzie Albies wasn't quite as good before he got hurt. He's still out long term. Harris is out, 60 days. So they've missed a lot. They're in danger of not making the playoffs, but still enough time to kind of hang on there.
How surprised were you when the Giants sent Camilo Doval back to AAA?
Totally caught me off guard. In part because I don't have him anywhere. In part, I just hadn't realized the extent of his struggles. And the fact that they didn't just say, okay, we're going to have you in some lower leverage situations to work it out, makes me wonder what else is going on with him and the team. If there's some attitudinal adjustments or something of that nature there, totally caught me off guard. Ryan
Walker benefits more than anybody.
Absolutely. The fact that Bob Melvin went out straight up and named him as the closer, too, you never see that. You used to see it all the time, but now we're always doing this speculative waiting game. He's one of many that could get us safe. No, he straight up named Walker. That was pretty awesome.
Let's talk about a couple of young arms that are kind of making some names for themselves. One of my new favorite names in baseball, Zebby Matthews out of Minnesota.
Yeah, a great control artist. 7 walks in the minors this year so far. 7. That's awesome. No walks in his debut against the Royals. They need him to step up with Joe Ryan out. So they're kind of turning over to some younger pitchers. David Festa's gotten some serious run. Bailey Over is now their ace basically, and he's pitching as well as anybody right now in baseball. So you like seeing that. So Matthews stepped up at the right time. Interesting, kind of rise in prospect ranks this year for him.
Bowden Francis is 28 years old. He had some helium to begin the season, did not pitch well, then got hurt. Now he's back. He's auditioning for a permanent starting role in 2025, and he's looked good in his last few starts for the Blue Jays.
He has, and this is a team that's auditioning a number of players, pitchers and hitters alike. Sometimes these guys thrive, out of the spotlight, get opportunity. Opportunity is always king. Sometimes it works out pretty well. Francis, had some good moments last year. Looked like he might be the 5th starter earlier this year, but then he got knocked around and got hurt too. So now he's kind of getting that every 5th day, and we talk about that there. Sometimes guys hit another level.
That's so true. My favorite baseball story this season is Joey Bart. He was essentially a cast-off from the Giants, couldn't get his rhythm going in San Francisco, never really hit for power, goes to Pittsburgh, and he has completely resurrected his career back home with the Pirates.
He has, and sometimes catchers take a while to learn how to hit at the big league level, especially hitting in a tough ballpark like San Francisco's too. I wonder how much that stunts a player's development sometimes.
Meanwhile, a couple of questions for you on Twitter and X from Neff Poppy. First, who is considered the D-backs closer? Tony won't give enough hints.
It's frustrating. I think it's whoever he feels like in the given moment. I'd say Justin Martinez is more likely than not to get the first stab at it, but I think it's going to be a lot like the Phillies, where it's not one designated guy.
Okay, and then back to football. Neff Poppy wants to know, Jeff, best rookie quarterback option and rookie running back to start, and how soon would you draft him?
Caleb Williams, I moved him into my top 12 among quarterbacks. I think I would treat him as a starter now, barely over Jaden Daniels. Daniels will run a little bit more, I think, but Williams isn't a statue. He'll run some himself, and I just think I like his teammates around him better. Best rookie running back, interesting, because I don't think we might not have a rookie running back starter to begin the season. I think eventually you'll see. I think eventually you'll see the kid in Carolina and Benson in Arizona eventually start for their respective teams. Yeah. It's going to take some injuries to get there, though.
And Brooks is actually coming off of an injury in Carolina.
Yeah, a big one. Torn ACL in November.
Yep.
And we're already suggesting that he won't begin the season, active. So I think that often takes a little longer than people are expecting, hoping, wish casting for. So I haven't gotten any Brooks yet. I have gotten the discounted Chuba Hubbard, actually, because I've been often drafting where, like with the running back anchor plan, get one early running back, then wait and just do a host of options. And Hubbard's among those choices sometimes for me.
Excellent. All right, let's talk about the website, rotowire.com, and what you've got cooking right now for our listeners, especially not just some articles to feature, but how people can get behind the paywall and see all the great things you have in store.
Sure. Rotowire.com/free is your gateway there. Free couple days behind the paywall. No credit card required. We've been doing the free trial this way for over 20 years. It really works. People get a real chance to check it out. There's no okay, you forgot, now you're going to be charged. No, you have to actually physically pay, and at the time and that. So we want you to check it out. My recent fantasy football PPR rankings are up on the site. That you can check those out. I'll have those up every Wednesday. We've got all sorts of coverage for baseball. All the recent call-ups are covered. Obviously, football draft season, cover it 10 different ways to the sun. So, there's so many different ways you can check it out. Rotowire.com/free.
Excellent. Loved it. We'll talk to you again next week. As always, Jeff, appreciate the time and the insight.
You bet. Thanks, Steve.
You got it. He's Jeff Erickson, folks, from Rotowire.com. 43 now past the hour. Come back, wrap up hour number 2. Still to come, Tim Haggerty, Chihuahuas Baseball. It's about 45 minutes away here on your home for the Chihuahuas, 600 ESPN El Paso. Back here on Sports Talk as we continue on the program. 505-6009, that is our telephone number. 505-6009 gets you right on in and through to the show. Would love to hear from you in our final few moments of hour number 2 of the program. If you're just joining us today, we've talked fantasy sports. We've talked Dippin' Dots. We've talked candy. We've also touched on NFL news. A lot of that, too, today. And had a chance earlier to spend a little time with a pair of minor basketball players. Saw both Kevin Kalu and Elijah Jones earlier today. And, man, they're fun. A lot of fun. Kevin Kalu is super excited about this basketball team. He really is. And he needs to come on the program because he is going to tell everybody listening.
Wow, really?
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
He's going to tell everybody listening that Baylor Heb is going to surprise everybody this year for his senior season at UTEP. He is convinced that Baylor Heb will have plenty of big moments as a minor this season.
I like it.
Hot
good
take.
No, good take. I think it's a good one right there.
It is. And Elijah's awesome. We had a lot of fun talking to Elijah today. So Elijah was talking to us about how he knows his defense needs to get better, and he's aware of what he needs to do in order to try to get more minutes, and now he just has to make it work. Simple as that. Elijah Jones could be the most real person I've ever talked to. Like, you listen to him and he's so brutally honest. You're like, man, you just want to root for him. And that was a lot of fun getting a chance to see the two of them earlier today.
Elijah Jones once went up to Alberto Reta and said, "Hey, man, you take all these pictures. Can you send them to me?"
I remember that. I sent it to him.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you get a thank you?
Yeah, he liked them and everything.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he appreciated it.
That's
he says
cool.
what's on his mind.
Yeah, that's nice. I'm happy you sent him those photos.
And he's really drawn to the camera, too. He's always smiling, drawing to the camera.
Oh, that's good. So in other words, he photographs easy.
Yes.
What kind of equipment do you use when you shoot those games?
I just have like a DSLR that I bought a while ago. A nice little Canon camera.
There you go. With a big lens on it?
No. Or like it's got just a base lens.
Standard lens.
Yeah, so the pictures they're good. But if I wanted to take a little bit more athletic pictures, more action shots, I would need a little bit of a better lens.
Well, you need to make a little money first, and then you can worry about buying a bigger lens for your camera.
The thing is, like, for the things I use my camera, I don't need a bigger lens. That's not an investment. That just doesn't make sense. It's like if you ride your bicycle once a month and you buy a $3,000 bicycle.
Yeah.
That's no
I
point.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is the camera you have does exactly what you need, and you don't need it to do anything else.
Not at all.
All right, that's good. Well, congratulations. I'm happy you got yourself a good camera.
Thank you.
All right. 2 hours down, 30 minutes to go. We'll come back, and we'll get you ready for a little Chihuahuas baseball. It's coming up bottom of the hour with Tim Haggerty right here on 600 ESPN El Paso. Happy to have all of you back. 600 ESPN El Paso. 505-6009. That is our telephone number. 505-6009 if you want to get into the program. We've got a very special dining deal coming up this Friday at 10 a.m. $50 of food and entertainment for just $25 from Clicks Billiards at 1201 Airway. Oh, man. I spent many a night in my life at Clicks Billiards. As a single individual, all the time. Loved Clicks. You know, it's been around for 40 years, folks. Clicks Billiards has offered a full sports bar experience with delicious food, fun pub games, and multiple TVs. Serving the amateur or serious player, enjoy the game while watching your favorite sport alone, on a date, or with friends. That's the ultimate right there. I wonder how many people would like to go to watch your favorite sports alone. Personally, I'd rather watch it with a date or just with buddies as well in a clean and safe environment. And by the way, your $50 can be used for anything Clicks offers. That's right, Adrian, anything over there, Clicks Billiards, 1201 Airway.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for me who's never been to Clicks, Steve, to check it out for the first time. That's why I love dining deals and what we offer at our must-read bar, 600ESPNElPaso.com. Check out the Seize the Deal opportunities over there. But that's what I love about them, the fact that you get a chance to experience all these new places thanks to our dining deals.
That's because Clicks over here on North Mesa closed back when you were probably before your teenage years. So I can understand why you never had a chance to experience that on the West Side, because it was already a memory by the time you were pretty much of age and ready to go and shoot a little stick over here on the West Side.
You know, the thing is I could have really used Clicks, Steve, because I love playing pool with my friends, especially in college and stuff like that. And we went to places where if you played pool, you get weird looks from other people just because of your age or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
I loved to take dates to go play pool at Clicks. That was a favorite of mine because everybody likes to shoot pool. That was always fun, and drink beer and just have a good time. And it was always fun to watch. Plus, I always wanted to. That was a good test of mine to see how good they were at playing pool or shooting billiards, depending on what you want to call it. 'Cause some people are really good. In fact, my wife told me years after we were married that she used to play in tournaments at Clicks, and was the person that would just go out and try and win a little money playing some pool.
I like it. I mean, if you can win money playing some pool, I mean, that tells a lot about you as a player. So I like it.
It sure does. You ever shoot some pool?
Yeah, my dad's an avid pool shooter. I'm pretty good. It's kind of like transferred over, and more than anything, and this happened last time. When I get out there to the pool tables, the luck starts going my way, and that's really fun to watch. People kind of lose their minds. So the way I do it is you just hit the ball really hard, and it sounds like it doesn't work. I hit the ball really hard, hope it finds a hole, and 9 times out of 10 it does, and people started going, "Oh my god!" and they don't know it's all luck.
So what you're telling me is your style allows people to, as you've called it, lose their minds while you're playing.
Yes.
Wow. Why? You know what? I don't understand something. We have talked about your dating on this radio show ad nauseum, and we have discussed the trials and tribulations and frustrations and everything about you and really, going out with women and all of that. How come, if this is a strong point of yours and you want to impress them, especially by hitting the ball 1,000 miles an hour and just, by luck would have it, it goes in, why not take them to Clicks and go ahead and impress them playing some pool?
I think that's going to be my next one. My next day. It's going to be at Clicks, so I can get out to the pool tables and really enjoy it. I haven't done it. I haven't taken a date to a pool table, I want to say, in about a year.
Oh, all right.
So it's been a while.
How did it go the last time?
Oh, that last time went really well. We were at another place, okay. And someone was like really intoxicated. He came up to talk to us about Texas, actually.
Texas meaning like the Longhorns?
Yes, he's like, I've been at the games, and he was super drunk, and we were just kind of like, oh, really? That's cool. But I don't know how to tell him, like, all right, that's enough. But we had a good time. We shot pool. He had a great time. I was watching ESPN. I think it was actually the day of Texas versus Alabama.
Adrian, when you have somebody that's completely inebriated and they're talking to you, and let's say it's a friend of yours or your wife, whatever, what's the best suggestion to try and move on without starting a fight?
That's a really good one. That's a really good one because, being in college and fortunately being in a fraternity, you're with a lot of these characters, I'd say.
Yeah.
And when you have to throw them in front of a video game. That's what I've seen. And sometimes if they're well over the top, like they don't have any kind of concentration efforts to them, then you're pretty much screwed.
You really? Plundo, you're still in this college experience out in Lubbock. Have you encountered that, and what's been your best way to try and move along?
I've encountered this many times, unfortunately. I've been the unlucky soul of this. There was one time, it was a Texas Tech game against UT, funny enough, my freshman year in 2022, week 3. Went to the game, we won, it was a crazy game, and afterwards, me and my buddies, went out to the fraternity house to, go have fun and watch more college football, and then one of them got really intoxicated, and it got really bad that, we wouldn't let him drive home because he had his car there, but we made it adamant that we were not going to let him get in that car and try to drive home. But, when you're inebriated and intoxicated, you don't think. So he tried to get into that car multiple times and go home, and luckily we were, watching him the whole time, so thankfully the night ended okay, right. No one got hurt, everything was fine, no harm, no foul. But I would say my best advice is, just to offer your support, help them out because, they don't know what's going on clearly. So the best thing you can do is just help them out at that point.
Well, but here's the thing. This was your buddy. Alberto had a complete stranger who was inebriated start going up to him and kind of hanging out, and he was saying he didn't really know how to get out of that. So if you're encountering somebody you don't know, but who's come up to you and essentially not going away, and they're just completely hammered, how do you find a way to move on without putting yourself in a position to ultimately upset that person and start a fight?
The best way, I actually recently encountered somebody where this is crazy. This is really weird, but I was out recently and there was a group of guys who just wouldn't leave our group alone. They were like heckling our group, and they were like the whole thing was they were trying to get a rise out of the people in the group. I think the number one way to do it is just ignore them. Ignore them the best way possible. What they want is a rise out of you. What they want is the attention. What they want is all that kind of stuff. You have to actually go cold stone face and ignore them. I think you have to give them the cold shoulder and really ignore them.
So if somebody's coming up and really friendly to you, like let's say, okay, somebody comes up and says, hey, Adrian, I listen to you all the time on the radio. Man, I'm a huge fan of yours. But they're just bombed, right? And you know that it's kind of one of those situations to where, oh, man, that's cool. Thanks for doing it. But then they won't leave you alone and they won't go away. And yet they're friendly. They are fans of yours, but they're also distracting and they're hammered. And I'm going to ask Haggerty this question when he comes on, joins us during our final countdown. So I'll ask Tim the same thing. How do you? Now, we're not talking about people that are heckling you. I'm just talking like Alberto said. Guy came up to him while he was on with a date, and it gets kind of uncomfortable because person's really bombed, and yet you want to go back to your date, but you don't want to anger the person that's drunk, that's trying to hang out with you. So what do you do then?
Yeah, it's the same thing that I just said. It sounds cold and it sounds mean, but if you've already drawn the line in the sand, if you already said, you already kind of said like, hey man, I'm here to hang out with this person, or I'm here to do this kind of stuff. I appreciate you. But you just kind of move along, man. You kind of turn the back to them, and it sounds a little cold. It sounds a little mean, but you don't entertain that person because that person is going to be, they're going to want to entertain or be entertained until they pass out or whatever. Because that's just a bad situation to be in, man. I hate those situations. It's definitely happened once or twice.
Did you ignore the person and eventually they walked away?
No, I don't like dealing with it like that. And a lot of the times for me, in my personal experience, what draws people in is the date. They see that you two are on a date, the chick is hot, and they want to come in and talk to the hot chick. They want to be there like but it's like, dude, I'm on a date. Like, I'm here with the hot chick. You think I want to talk to you? You're obliterated. And so what I did that time was just like, I told her, oh, can you go get us some drinks? And then I just told him like, hey, man, like, we're on a date. You think you could give us some space? And he was like, oh, yeah, man, for sure, man, for sure. And he did.
Okay, so you basically let that person know, I'm on a date. Can you just give me a little, let back off a little bit in a nice way without getting punched?
Yeah, but once again, it's a huge gamble because you don't know how people are going to react when they're drunk.
Right.
So.
What if that person says and curses you out, and then when they want to fight you
or lays one on me?
Yes,
I deserved it.
Well, you didn't deserve it. You were trying to be nice,
but they didn't like it. They offered their friendship, and I said no.
That's true.
Who knows?
Now all of a sudden you've betrayed them, and in their inebriated state, it's that much worse.
Yeah, and I've been punched on a first date. Wow.
Wait a minute, you've been punched on you're saying if somebody punched you, that would be terrible.
Yeah.
Well, I still say take the date out to Clicks, buy that dining deals. It's right up your alley anyway because you're only going to pay $25 for it, and then you're going to have a whole night out with a date and take them out, shoot a little pool over there on Airway, and who knows what could happen.
I know what I'm going to do at Friday at 10 in the morning.
There you go. You're going to go to the must-read bar at 600ESPNElPaso.com, click on Dining Deals, and take advantage to $50 out there at Clicks Billiards for just $25. 1201 Airway. It's Clicks, it's Dining Deals, and it's going to be up this Friday at 10 a.m. All right, 14 past the hour as we continue here on Sports Talk. We'll come back. Tim Haggerty will join us next. Final countdown right after one final traffic update. Here's Charlie One with the latest.